Hi everyone, it's Clyde at Vibrant Soap, and today I'm going to be making a restock soap. I'm still making my artist inspired by soaps, but the last one that I'm working on right now is going to take some time. So I'm really making some embeds to be a part of that soap, and it's taking me some time. So in the meantime, I'm doing this restock soap of a soap that you might have seen me make before called Watermelon Lime Sublime. But I wanted to kind of update that a little bit and make it a little more fun. So it's now going to be called Watermelon Lime Cherry Sublime. So I've added another color, and I've added some interesting, I think, embeds to the top of that to make it more playful. So this is the melt and pour block that I made my little tiny watermelon embeds on, and I cut them into little wedges to put on top. And they have to be sort of small to be a part of a top for this, if every bar is going to have that. And then I made these cherries with a new mini sphere mold from Brambleberry, and I did work on this one too. I made like a maroon color because I realized that cherries are sometimes that deep red color, so I mixed a little activated charcoal to make a deeper, darker red. But then when I looked at it, it looked like a Boston baked bean, so I didn't like that. So what I did do was I mixed that with a brighter red inside the mold, so there's like a two-tone, and then I was a little more happy. And then I have a little lime silicone mold, and same thing with that. I made a lime from that, and what I did was I took a darker green that I added some activated charcoal to, and then I kind of rocked the soap back and forth until that shell solidified, and then I put a yellow green with a lot of glycerin soap in with it, so it's somewhat transparent like a real lime. And so I'll show you a little bit of the cutting of this watermelon embed, and then we'll get on with the making of the soap. Okay, so I finished making this embed for this soap, but the thing is, I want to cut it in a way that will best show it off when I put it on top of the soap. In other words, if I sink it into the soap, I won't see some of the details. So what I think I'm going to do is cut these into little wedges so they look like mini wedges of watermelon, and then just lay it on top flat so that you can see all the layers here. So this is the soap, the whole thing. And I made it in this Brambleberry silicone mold, and debated on whether I'd make it a taller wedge, but I didn't really want it to take over the whole soap. So here it is, and the first thing I'm going to do is just cut it in, just still experimenting, in a thin strip. Like that, and it's got some poppy seeds in there, and then I'm going to just make them into little triangles. Let's see, we'll do it this way. So this is the end cut, so I won't have this, something like that, if I lay them on top of the soap. So I can't use that one like that, but I can use this. So it'll look like a little wedge of watermelon. It's going to be a whimsical, fancy little top in this soap. I don't really want this end piece too, because I want some of these darker stripes. Here's this side. I only need 11 of these right now. Okay, I've got more than I need. So this is cherry, lime, watermelon, shave ice. So I had to make these lime Embeds too. So I did that in the mold, and so as the darker layer was setting up, I just kind of rocked the mold back and forth so it got a nice curve. Those are my embeds, and now I'm going to be making the soap. Okay, in the color tutorial for this soap, I'm going to start from the bottom and go up. For a good reason. I'm trying to cut down on my steps. So if I get the colors that I want and then add some titanium dioxide to make a pastel version of these colors, then I don't have to concentrate on mixing everything separately. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a nice watermelon-like red. And so I looked at a lot of watermelon photos and notice that just a little touch of orange sometimes gets a nice watermelon red. And there's still going to be a little bit of white in this because the soap lightness does also need to be taken into consideration. So I'm going to get, probably I want an end result of something like that. And then for the cherry, I want more of a pure red. In the soap. Found out that when I was making my embeds, that one color just didn't do it for me. So when I poured the embeds, I poured it with 2 different colors of melt and pour, and then I got what I wanted. So this is kind of what I want for the, maybe a little lighter for the cherry portion. So these 2 colors are really similar, but I'm counting on that little minute difference to add some interest to the soap. And let's see here, maybe a tad more orange. And then I don't know what my camera's doing to this. You might not be able to see what I'm doing at all. Okay, and then so I want the pastel version of this. This is going to be a pink. That's going to go right over the top of that, because my idea is, if you've ever sucked all the flavor out of a snow cone, which is shaved ice, you know that there's an icy bit that gets left behind up on top. And so I'm doing it for that reason. And the other reason is I have colorful embeds that I'm going to put on top. And if I put those embeds on really potent color, I might lose the effect of the embeds. So I think I'm getting close to what I want there. Something like that on top of that one. I'm going back to get my orangey red for my watermelon. It really does depend on the watermelon you get. Well, sometimes they're a really bright red. Something like that. These 2 are going to look pretty similar. And then I'm going to also have some green. And I'm mixing 2 different micas because I know exactly what I want for this. I want to mix my pistachio mica from Rustic Essentials with the laurel green from Nurture Soap to get something a little bit more green than a yellow green pastel. I think I want that a little bit lighter. Something like that. And then the pastel version of that. Something like that. But then my embeds are another story. They're going to be deep in color. So the cherry, as I told you, is going to be a mix of just a really red mica, and then to get a little bit of a maroon on the other side of that, and that'll give that cherry embed a bit more of a 3D quality. And as long as the two melt and pour colors are wet, they'll just mix pretty nicely in the mold. And then the lime is going to have a darker skin. Just a little bit of black in there. So if you look at a lime up close, you'll see that it's got that very deep dark green, and the inside of that is yellow that's almost a green. So it's going to look somewhat like that. And I'm pouring two different colors in my lime mold to get that effect. I'm going to have a watermelon rind with pink, a deep red for the fruit part, a really light green as it gets to that, closer to the outer shell, and then the actual skin of the rind is going to be mottled with green, a deep green, and my yellow green. Something like that. So once again, I'm going to have deep colors on the bottom and then pastels on top of them. They're related pastels, and then the deeper colors up on top, and I think that'll showcase the embeds really nicely. So let's get on with the soap making. Okay, I'm going to blend the kaolin clay in my oils. Got some goat milk in there too. Soaping at about 83 degrees. Now I'm going to add the lye solution. Give that a good stir before I start blending. I've got a lot to do, so I want to make sure that the powder stays pretty liquid. And that looks good. Okay, I want to make sure that I pour more green than the red. The green is going to separate the two reds in my loaf mold, separated by dividers, and the center divider is wider, so it's going to need more soap. Start off with that much. That's going to be my cherry. This is my lime. The watermelon. And this is all by feel, so I'm hoping that once I pour these in the divided areas that they come up pretty level on top. It's a great color for cherry. Oh, actually this is the one that has the fiery fusion. This is the cherry. It's more of a reddish pink. But I wanted a little more red, so I added some really red mica. And this is laurel green mixed with pistachio for the lime. And blend all of those together. I'm going to start with the green. Get my fragrance in there. So the green has some lime fragrance. It smells awesome. And that's from Brambleberry. This is my watermelon. And I like the watermelon fragrance from Nature's Garden. And black cherry from Nature's Garden. It's going to go in this one. So if you're new to soaping, and you see us pounding down like this with the blender, we're trying to get the air bubbles out from under the blender so we don't get a lot of bubbles in there. Okay, so the next step is to pour some of this, just a little bit, for the top. So just a little bit top here. So I've got a nice pastel version of all those. And I'm going to get this poured. The green stayed pretty liquidy. So it's just the red ones that got pretty thick. Cherry fragrance, I think, speeds things up a bit too. So that's a little lumpy, but it's still workable. It smells just like shave ice in here right now. It smells delicious. Turn this just so I can maneuver. So this is so solid that it's going to need a little bit of help spreading it around, and I'm not worried because this will work with my design. Because snow cones are kind of, well, icy. I can still get some more of this green in the middle to get the level up to the same level as the red portions. Okay, so get this out. This out. So I think this is going to be too thick to do my swirl that I wanted to do. So all I'm going to do is take a spoon, I'm going to work with this, and get it somewhat flat. See if I can do a little bit of a chopstick swirl to integrate it, and I can't. It's really kind of set up. So that makes me concerned for my top, but we'll just have to get this out of there. It's still workable. It actually looks like just like it's churned up frozen ice dessert. So not what I was planning at all, but we'll see what happens. This one's set up too, but it's not quite as grainy as the other one. Finally the green, which behaved the best here. So 3 different textures. Still looks delicious. Okay, so let me wipe the spoon off. Clean up the sides. And let's get the embeds in there. And I've already put some markings on top of the mold so I know where to place these embeds, the cherry embeds. Then I'm going to take my lime embeds, and I think I'm going to turn this, well, I need to see where the lines are. This one is going to be the highest top, so I'm going to push those down at an angle. Lots going on in the soap. And then my little watermelons look like that. So let's see if I put it on the side like this. Now the reason for the lighter top is so that these would stand out a bit better too. If it was all the dark red and green, these things would just kind of be a chaotic mix of the same color and they would get lost in the process. Okay. Well, I wasn't counting on that bit of acceleration, but we got everything in, and now let's get some glitter on top. Add some brightness to the whole thing. There, so really does pick up the light, doesn't it? Just want to show you the loaf before I cut this. Get the camera where you can see everything. I had fun making the embeds for this. So let me see. I think I might trim a little bit off the side. So as you saw in the video, the soap started to solidify a little more quickly than I thought it was going to, but I got it in. And I have basically 2 different versions of each color so that it got lighter up at the top And there's 3 different fragrances in here. I can smell the watermelon, cherry, and lime in here, because the fragrance was not mixed together. That's the watermelon fragrance, lime fragrance, and the cherry fragrance. And this is my summer soap. If you're new to my channel, thanks for tuning in, and I hope you subscribe so you can be notified when I have a new video up. And I have not given up on a relatively recent series of soap making devoted to soap designs inspired by famous artists. And I'm in the process of making another one right now, but it's going to take a little more time to prepare for. So I hope you'll tune in for that. And if you go to my Instagram, we like to play a little guessing game. I'll post the soap first, and then followers kind of guess what artist inspired me. That was a fun thing to do. Well, I just really did that once, but I liked that, the reaction it got. I will cut one more, and it'll be all cut. Okay, so thanks for watching. We'll see you real soon. I think my next soap is going to be another inspired by soap, and I hope that you'll tune in for that. We'll see you later, everybody. Bye.